We're starting off our build with the cockpit for the Triarch Stalker. Now, initially you're going to need part of the floor plan here, the part of the front and the initial bottom half of the control column by the look of it. Excuse me. So this will slot into there like so. And then this will go onto there. So this is the absolute first part of the cockpit. You can only get this up one way. Hopefully you can only get this up one way. Well then, this is the start of the command throne, I suppose you could call it. I'm gonna try gluing a lot of this from underneath, like thus. Oh dear. And then this, from what I can tell, attaches so that the cable goes into the hole which is on the front there. So just going to use something to push that in properly, like so. So that's what we've got. I'm just going to add the glue. And that's where we are so far. Now initially I was a little bit skeptical about putting the legs in first, but I have just noticed that they are keyed, so I'm kind of hoping that they will go in and sit okay. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put the legs in and then I'm going to put the hips on, which is out of sequence. So first leg, and it is a bit tricky, so first leg, just pop on some glue, and then second leg, again pop on some glue just to secure the foot, like so. Now the hips are going to go on. Actually, looking at that, I'm not, no, that's fine actually. Once you've got it in keyed, I was a little bit concerned that putting these in before the hips would cause some issues, but actually it's not. So we'll move on to the next part, which is we're going to start constructing the Necron body. So we've got the spine here, and we have this sort of like expanded cage around the back, which goes on. It will only go one way, so you can't get it round the wrong way, like thus. We then have a small part here, which is part of the neck brace, which from what I can tell goes in just there into the torso. So just pop some glue in there, and then the front of the torso goes on. Like thus. And then this glues with these connecting cables to the bottom. Just trying to work out where exactly. So it's not there. So this is trying to work this out. It's a little bit difficult. Okay, I think I've got it. Right, yeah, so it pushes up by the looks of it. Looks like it's keyed to go right up against the raised bar, which is on top of the carapace there. So, yeah. We're then going to pop the head in. So that's going to rest on the neck pistons there, like thus, okay, like so. And then the hips, making sure you've got them forward, they slot into a hole just bottom of the torso. And then from there, this goes into the command throne, and it is keyed. So this little piece here goes into this recessed area here, and that will see it into position. So that is our construct so far. Now we are adding in the control panels, which, from what I can tell, these pieces here, so they're going to curve round slightly, and from what I can tell they go into the recesses just on the command node, like thus. Do that. And I'll get some glue from underneath, so they're secured nicely. Then what we have is the hand, which is on the command node, and this is keyed, so it should only go one way. So you can see that it's keyed there and it's keyed there, so it should only go one way. then have the upper arm that's going to go in. And touch glue there to secure. Come on. That's better. And then this side, the arm, and I'm just going to have it maybe hovering slightly over one of the control nodes. So I'm just going to position it about there, like that. Like so. So that's what we have. We're then coming into the spine for the construct, which is this. And we will do that. And we've got these wires here, these wires with plugs on, and they are going to secure into 3 holes on the spine. So let's go 1, 2, 3, like this, and locate. Just make sure that it's on straight when you've done it. We've also got a tiny little item which goes onto the top here, and again it's keyed, so it should only go one way. Like so. Right, so there we go. Now what we're doing is just the armour tub to go around, and this, it does seem to be keyed on the spine so that these 2 pieces match up to some recesses here, and it touches onto the front panel there. So that's that. And then just checking, make sure the alignment there, dab, dab, and then the same on the other side. So it will align there, and there. So just making sure it goes into the spine. Like so. That is the cockpit for our Stalker. So hopefully that's not going to be too much trouble to paint. Looks like we can just go straight in and do mostly obviously lead belcher on this. So just some slight misalignment on the front, but it shouldn't be too noticeable. So yeah, there you go. That's our cockpit for our Stalker. So we're starting with the body now, and what you need to do is make sure you get the right piece. So the piece which goes on the bottom is this one. It's got 4 pinholes which are designed to take the mounting bracket for the weapons, and the weapon is underslung. So this is the piece that goes on the bottom. We are putting 4 pieces here, which are 29, and then 27 are the 2 pieces at the front. You need to make sure you get the orientations around the right way. So 27 at the front, they go so that the socket cup here is uppermost. The others all go with the socket cup pointing down, like so. Reason being is that these smaller legs, the 4 at the back, join. There's a pin on the inside of these cups, so the ball goes onto that. But these ones at the front, because the legs are much bigger, they come up and then angle downwards. So be sure to get that round the right way. So you've got 4 of part number 29 and 2 of part number 27. And I'm going to start with the 227s. So I do apologise if you can hear people talking outside. It is warm today. It makes a change from the very last week where we've had some quite heavy rain, although the rain is much needed. But it is a bit warm. So we're going in and so all of these are nice and easily just popped in. Like so. And then from there we are popping on the top of this. So there is a gap which is meant to be there, so just be aware of that. Right, I'm going to pop some glue in there and some glue in there, and I'm going to pop in some glue there and there. Hopefully that'll be enough to keep it in position. So that's what we have at the moment. We now have a weapon, which, well, it's not a weapon, sorry, it's just the tail piece for this construct. And I'm going to glue this together before, and let it dry before I look to trim it up. and get rid of any seam lines, because obviously we're joining this together, so there's going to be some seam lines coming down each centre line. So I'm going to trim all that up once it's had time to dry. Just making up the legs. So your legs are going to end up looking like this, but they primarily come out with one side of the armature before you get to the leg and foot. And these just literally go on like so. Now, you don't need to be particularly careful when you're putting your glue on this, simply because it is essentially going to be non-moving. So I'm just going to push that together and create some tiny weld seams, which when dry I can then scrape off smooth. Now the larger legs, I'm recommending joining these together like so, and then well, I mean, if you're using plastic weld, that is, I would glue these together in this manner, doing the lower part of the leg and then turning it round so that we can concentrate on just doing the next part here and here. Like so. So pop that in there like so, and then what we're doing, making sure that your cabling is hanging down, you put one of the cups over the leg like so, over the circle there, and then this is where you do need to be a bit careful, so don't take your glue up to the end where it is going to rotate, and then add in like so, so that you have that. So these are your two front legs. As you can see, they both articulate. Now, once I've put these into position, glued these the legs into position, so these, when that is upright like that, these go into position there like so. Once I'm happy with the position, I will actually glue them solid. So with this, what I'm just going to do is just try and trim away some of the mould seam line down the centre here, so as it's not too obvious, and then hopefully when I paint that will take care of the rest. It's one of the reasons why I like plastic weld, because when you push items together, you're forcing some of the plastic weld out through the seam, and it forms little beads, literally a little plastic weld, which allows for the, when it's dry, you can just scrape along. So, right, these are then going to go onto in actual fact, what I'm going to do first is the tail piece that we did. So make sure you orientate the cable again to the bottom. This is going to locate in there. Like so. Then I'm going to start coming in with legs. Now, they do have a plan, and the plan is that 2 of the legs are orientated at a angle like so, sort of thing. And I'm just trying to make sure that because I have mixed these up slightly, and then these 2 are going to be slightly like thus. And then I'm going to drop some glue in to secure them. I do apologise, as I say, it's a bit warm, so I've got the windows open, so I do apologise if you can hear my neighbours in the street. And then I'm just gonna, just to make sure that it's level like so. Alright, so I've trimmed up my claws and I am just going to angle how I want them. So I'm going to have one like that. And then I might have maybe this one like that. And then I'm going to just pop in some glue to put, and there you go, that's your main body built at this moment in time. That's what it will look like. Okay, nice, I like it, it's a nice construct, I'm liking it so far. We then have 2 little mandible claws that I need to just cut out, and that's these 2. Okay, a bit like a crab has his feeder claws. So that's these 2 that will go in just here. Let's pop these little things in, and clearly you can put these in however you like. They are slightly different. I'm not too worried about which orientation, you know, whether I get the right armature into the right slot, because, you know, it's to me sort of like little feeder crabs. They kind of like have their kind of like that, so that's how I'm gonna go. Weapon assembly. So we get 3 weapons. We get this one. What's that one? I will soon tell you. Doesn't say. But this one with the head that looks like a demigorgon mouth is a heat ray, and we have twin heavy Gauss Cannon, which is this one. I don't know, is that a conversion beamer or something like that? And it doesn't say. I'll have to look at the data sheet. However, Right, before I put anything together, this is the main body. This is the main body of the weapon. It glues together like that, and then basically the other weapon parts attached to it, so on and so forth. I am not going to glue this together at this stage. I am going to order myself some more silicone resin, because I have done some casting in the past for Dungeons and Dragon tiles and stuff like that. So I'm going to make a little mould. I'm going to cast that, and the cable that hangs down, I've detached that from this. So it used to attach there. So I've detached it to make the casting process easier, and I will separately cast that, probably that way up, to make it easier to cast. Now, once I've cast that at least twice, hopefully it will come out okay both times. So I'm going to cast this to make the body of the weapon, so that I can then make each and every weapon type for this. Let's start off with the Gauss Cannon. And so the two halves glue together, and then we have a cross piece on the muzzle. And then we have what I suppose, if you were looking at a rifle today, might be considered the flash eliminator. And then that just goes in the end. I would strongly recommend using the tip of something pointy to just help that go down in place. So your Gauss Cannon looks like that, and then that attaches to the side of the weapon assembly there. And when you make this, so your two halves will go together like thus, and you will put your Gauss Cannon in, and then you have this tiny little front which goes on like that, and then the other Gauss Cannon comes this side. So that's that assembly. We have the, what did I call it? She can't remember. Heat ray. So this is going to be a bit of a pig. So the heat ray goes together, and then the front joins into the weapon assembly like that. So I will literally just add the glue in from behind. Now I'm going to let this dry. And with this one, we have some little nodules that look like this. They're all numbered the same, but you detach these and then they stick into the pinholes there. So you would put two in each side. So that's that weapon as you would assemble it. And then the final weapon is this one, which I can't remember what it was called, mainly because there's no name on the destruction sheet for it. And this one would literally just go on the front of the weapon like so. Just bear in mind that this is slightly cambered into a V. It's a very shallow V, kind of like that, right on the front. So you need to obviously orientate, when you attach your weapons, you need to orientate them correctly so that they go into position correctly. And that essentially that's your weapons. With this one, once it goes on, you've got these additional power cables which attach into the side there like that on the weapon, so that then they go together like thus. That goes together like so. This would then go on the front. Like that. And then you've got your weapon mounting, which would then stick up underneath the Stalker. So this would then attach underneath like so. And because I'm intending to magnetize this, the weapon platform, so that I can take the different weapons out, it will mean that I can then also rotate the weapons. And that's the plan. That's the plan, Stan, that I am intending with this piece of equipment. And yeah, I may do a separate video, but like I've said previously, you know what GW are like for having slight hissy fits when people show others how to cast their bits and pieces. But this is just for personal use. So yeah, suck on it, kids. GW. This is literally just for me to be able to sport all the weapon options. And I'm just going to obviously document the process for educational purposes. So there's the last Gauss Cannon going into position there, and then a little bit on top, and then just drop that in. And as I say, use a sharply pointed object to just seat it into position. So there you go, that's all your weapon options done. And discussed. And I will see you in the next video. All right, take care. Bye-bye.